Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into a complete, highly detailed summary of a truly fascinating side of aviation that, honestly, most passengers never even think about. We're going to take what might initially seem like dry, boring aviation paperwork and transform it into what it truly is, the absolute, vital blueprint for survival, safety, and efficiency up in the sky. If you've ever wanted to understand how massive global airlines operate with such mind-blowing precision, well, you're in exactly the right place.
So you know when you look up and see a commercial jet cruising at 35,000 feet, you might ask yourself, what really keeps that airplane in the sky? I mean, sure, aerodynamics and jet fuel provide the physical lift, obviously, but today we're going to uncover the invisible safety net. Because behind every single successful takeoff and landing is a massive mountain of rigorous, legally required documentation that literally makes commercial flight possible.
All right, to start things off, let's look at exactly how we define airline-generated documentation, getting this straight from our Amte 231 source material. These are documents an airline specifically generates to carry out its own maintenance and operational activities. And what's absolutely crucial to understand here is that these aren't just generic, one-size-fits-all books handed down from regulators. They actually vary in name and content from one operator to another. Each airline has to build its own meticulously tailored systems from the ground up.
Because airline operations are incredibly complex and so heavily checklist-driven, here is our flight plan for this comprehensive summary. We'll cover the airline documentation blueprint, the master rulebooks, safety and operational flexibility, authorizing the flight, and finally, we'll wrap up with the ultimate payoff.
Section 1, the Airline Documentation Blueprint. Let's jump right in.
To maintain order, airlines have to neatly categorize this massive scope of information into four main pillars. We've got flight operations documents, maintenance and engineering documents, safety and compliance documents, and finally, commercial and customer service documents. Now, while all four are totally vital cogs in the machine, for this explainer, we're zeroing in specifically on that first category, the highly critical world of flight operations documents.
What's really crazy here is the sheer weight of responsibility these specific documents hold. Flight ops documents are designed to ensure safe, legal, and efficient airline operations. And guys, they aren't optional. They are strictly required by massive global regulatory bodies. Think organizations like ICAO, EASA, the FAA. On a daily basis, these documents are the actual lifelines used by pilots in the cockpit, dispatchers on the ground, and upper management to keep the entire operation running flawlessly. Moving right along to Section 2, the Master Rulebooks.
Okay, think of the Operations Manual, often called the OM, as the airline's absolute, non-negotiable rulebook. It's a strict regulatory requirement divided into four distinct parts. OMA covers the big picture stuff, general policies, company rules, emergency responses. Then OMB gets into the heavy machinery, providing aircraft-specific data, performance limitations, and standard operating procedures. OMC is all about geography, so routes and airdrome information. And OMD? That governs the people, detailing crew training programs and checking procedures. Literally every single rule an airline follows lives right here in these four parts. Next up, we have the Flight Crew Operating Manual, known in the industry as the FCOM. Now, unlike the OM we just talked about, the FCOM is actually published by the aircraft manufacturer itself, so companies like Boeing or Airbus. This is the pilot's daily go-to operational reference. It holds the exact step-by-step how-to for normal procedures, abnormal situations, and critical emergencies, which the airlines then adapt directly into their own procedures. But, just having the steps isn't quite enough. Pilots need to deeply understand the reasoning behind them. That's where the Flight Crew Training Manual, or FCTM, comes into play. It's the perfect complement to the FCOM. While the FCOM gives you the steps, the FCTM provides the core rationale behind those procedures. It focuses heavily on best practices, maneuver techniques, and overall aircraft handling. Because of that, it's heavily relied upon by flight crews during their simulator training.
Section 3, Safety and Operational Flexibility.
So what happens when things aren't 100% perfect on an aircraft, but it still needs to fly its route safely? Enter the Minimum Equipment List, or MEL. It's an ingenious, regulator-approved document that explicitly lists what equipment is allowed to be broken under certain conditions. It's all about finding that balance between absolute safety and operational flexibility. For instance, an airline can absolutely dispatch a plane if a single galley oven is broken. totally acceptable. But if a fire detection system goes down, no way. Not acceptable to fly. The MEL basically ensures a multi-million-dollar aircraft isn't grounded over a broken coffee maker without ever compromising on critical safety.
Section 4. Authorizing the flight. Let's get this plan off the ground.
This brings us to the dispatch release, sometimes called the flight release. Listen, this isn't just a casual piece of paper. It's the actual legal authorization document for every single flight. It carries so much legal weight that it has to be carefully prepared by a licensed flight dispatcher. And crucially, before that plane can move an inch, this document must be physically signed by both the captain and the dispatcher. They literally share the legal responsibility for the safety of that flight.
And this release is absolutely packed with data. We're talking the specific route and planned alternate airports just in case of a diversion. It's got highly technical aviation weather forecasts, known as METARs and TAFs. It includes strict mathematical fuel planning and reserves, integrates weight and balance data, and lists NOTAMs, notices to airmen regarding potential hazards. Literally every single variable is accounted for before the engines are even started.
Right alongside that dispatch release is another super vital piece of the puzzle. The load sheet, or weight and balance report. Prepared by a load controller before every flight, this document relies on pure physics. It confirms the exact distribution of passengers, bags, cargo, and fuel. Why? Because they have to calculate the precise center of gravity, or CG, to guarantee the total weight remains strictly within safe operational limits. To put it simply, an improperly balanced aircraft just cannot fly safely.
Finally, Section 5, the ultimate payoff.
So what's the so what here? Why does all this intense documentation matter to the airline and to you? Well, the operational payoff is massive. Generating and strictly adhering to these manuals ensures timely inspections happen right when they need to. It literally prevents catastrophic mechanical failures before they can ever occur. Ultimately, following this documentation to the letter is what maintains the continuous airworthiness of an entire airline fleet across thousands of flights every single day.
Our source material sums this entire ecosystem up perfectly with this quote: "Mastery of these documents will result in professional competence in aviation. It's not just about checking a box or pushing paper. Understanding and executing the procedures laid out in the OM, the FCOM, the MEL, and the dispatch release, that is the fundamental definition of what makes an aviation professional competent, reliable, and safe."
Hopefully, this explainer has completely transformed how you view that incredible invisible blueprint of manuals, lists, and releases working behind the scenes. It really is a beautifully complex system. So I'll leave you with this thought. Next time you board a commercial flight, sit back and feel those engines roar to life. How will you view the staggering amount of paperwork and preparation that had to be absolutely perfected before those wheels could ever leave the runway?